Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Story. Today, we're bringing you an exciting new tale that's perfect for improving your English. Listen carefully to understand the story, learn new vocabulary, and boost your English listening skills. So, get ready for an amazing story, and let's start learning English together. My name is Percy Jackson, and I am 49 years old. I live in a very big apartment right in the middle of a loud and busy city. My life here is not a very happy one these days. Every morning, I go to a job in a tall office building that I do not love. I work with many other people every day, but I always feel completely and totally alone in the crowd. After my work is done, I come home to my large and silent apartment. I make a simple dinner for myself and eat it alone. The silence in my home is always the loudest sound. I have 3 wonderful children who are all grown up now. They have their own busy lives and their own homes. I have 2 sons, Harry and Frodo, and 1 daughter named Evelyn. My 2 sons also live here in the same big city as me. Harry is a very successful doctor, and Frodo is a very good lawyer. They are both too busy for their old father. They do not visit me very often at all. Maybe they will call me on the phone once a week. The phone calls are always very short. They are always in a rush to go somewhere else. I know that they love me, but their love feels very distant now. Their lives are full of their work and their friends. I feel like I am just a part of their past, their childhood, but my daughter Evelyn is completely different from her 2 brothers. She works as a teacher in a small school. She is not as rich as them, but she has a very kind and warm heart. Evelyn is the only one who makes time in her busy schedule to visit me. She comes to my apartment every Sunday. She brings me flowers, and we talk for hours about everything. Her visits are the only real bright spots in my lonely week. When she is here with me, the apartment does not feel so empty. Her happy laughter fills the silent rooms with life. But when she leaves on Sunday evening, the heavy silence returns. I look out my window at the millions of city lights below. I feel like the loneliest person in the entire world. One evening, as I was watching the busy cars on the street, a memory came to me. It was a clear memory from a long, long time ago. It was a memory of my own childhood. I remembered the small and quiet village where I had grown up. It was a place that was so different from this city. There were no tall buildings or loud, angry noises there. I remembered the big green fields and the tall, strong oak trees. I remembered the clean smell of the fresh air after it rained. I remembered the dark nights that were full of bright stars. I thought about the small house where I lived with my own parents. It was not a big or a fancy house at all, but it was always completely full of warmth, love, and happy sounds. Life was very simple for us back then. Everyone in the small village knew each other by name. People always helped each other. They were more like a big family. I remembered playing by the clear river with all my friends. I remembered the delicious taste of the fresh bread my mother used to bake. Those memories felt like a different life. A deep and profound sadness washed over me as I stood there by the window. What had happened to that happy young boy from the village? Where did he go? I did not know this new man. I have this big apartment, a good job, and more than enough money. I have everything that people in this city think is important. But I do not have the one thing that truly matters: happiness. The contrast between my past and my present life was so sharp. My childhood was full of deep connection and real love. My adult life is full of success and a quiet loneliness. Just at that moment, my phone started to ring loudly on the table. I looked down at the screen. It was my oldest son, Harry. A small, hopeful feeling appeared in my heart. "Hello, Harry," I said into the phone, trying to make my voice sound cheerful. "It is so nice to hear from you. How are you doing, my son? Is everything okay?" "Hi, Dad. I'm good." Listen, I can't talk for very long, he said very quickly, his voice rushed. I just need to ask you if you can watch my dog for me this weekend. My small and fragile feeling of hope disappeared completely. He was not calling just to talk to his father. He was only calling because he needed a convenient favor from me. A familiar feeling of resignation washed over me. Yes, Harry, I said into the phone, my voice sounding flat and tired. Of course, I can watch your dog for you this weekend. Great, thanks, Dad. You're the best. I will drop him off tomorrow morning, he said. Then, before I could say another word, he had already hung up the phone. I stood there in the quiet room, holding the silent phone in my hand. I felt a deep and heavy tiredness in my soul. I was so tired of this lonely and empty life. I looked out the window at the busy, impersonal city one last time. I finally realized that I did not belong here anymore. This was not my real home. This was just a place I existed in. And in that very moment, I made a very important decision. It was a clear and strong decision that came directly from my heart. I knew what I had to do with my life. I was not going to spend the rest of my years in this cold and lonely place. I was not going to be just a convenient dog sitter for my busy and distant children anymore. I wanted to find that happy boy from the village once again. I wanted to feel the warm sun on my face. I wanted to breathe the fresh air. I wanted to feel peace in my heart. I knew that I deserved more than this empty existence. I deserved a chance to be truly happy again. I wanted to go back to the only place that ever felt like home. I was going to leave this big city for good. I was going to sell my large, empty apartment. I was going to quit the job that brought me no joy or satisfaction at all. I was going to return to the small village of my childhood. I did not know what I would find there now, but I knew it had to be better than this terrible emptiness. My decision felt like the first ray of warm sunshine after a long, dark night. For the first time in many, many years, I felt a real sense of hope for my own future. The very next morning, I woke up with a new and unfamiliar feeling inside me. The heavy weight of my deep sadness was finally gone. In its place there was a quiet determination to change my life for the better. I did not waste any more time thinking about my decision. My first phone call that day was to a local real estate agent. I told her I wanted to sell my large apartment as quickly as possible. My second phone call was to my office, to my direct boss. I informed him that I was resigning from my position, effective immediately. Immediately, I felt a huge sense of relief after I said those final words to him. These simple actions felt incredibly powerful and liberating. For years, I had been a passive person in my own story, but now I was finally the author again. Writing a new and better chapter for myself. The next step in my plan was the hardest. One of all, I had to tell my 3 children about my decision. I decided to call my daughter Evelyn first. I knew that she would understand me the most. When I told her my plan to move back to the village, she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Dad, if this will truly make you happy, then I'm very happy for you. I will visit you." Her supportive words meant the entire world to me at that moment. Her unconditional love was my anchor in this big sea of change. Her understanding gave me the courage to call my sons. Their reaction to my news was very different from Evelyn's reaction. My sons, Harry and Frodo, were confused and even a little bit angry. They did not understand why I would leave my successful life. "But what about your important job, Dad?" Harry asked me on the phone. "Your whole life is here in this city. What will you possibly do in a small, boring village all day?" They were not thinking about my personal happiness at all. They were only thinking about the disruption to their own lives. Their reaction just confirmed that my decision was the right one for me. My large apartment sold much faster than I ever expected it to. I packed a few things that truly mattered to me. This included old photographs, my favorite books, and my Father's old armchair. I left all of the expensive modern furniture behind for the new owners. Those things were just symbols of my lonely city life. I did not want them in my new chapter. I wanted simplicity. The day I drove out of the city was a beautiful and sunny day. It felt like the world was smiling down on my decision. I did not look back in my rearview mirror, not even once. After a few hours of driving, the tall city buildings were replaced by green trees. The loud, angry noise of the traffic was replaced by the quiet sound of the wind. I felt myself begin to relax when I finally arrived back in my childhood village. It truly felt like I was coming home. The village was a little bit bigger now, but it still had the same peaceful and quiet feeling I remembered. I found a small, simple cottage for sale at the edge of the woods. It had a little garden that needed some work and a nice front porch. It was the perfect place for my new beginning. I bought the small cottage and started my new simple life there. My days were not full of stressful meetings and endless emails anymore. They were full of quiet moments and simple, honest joys. I spent my mornings taking long, peaceful walks in the green fields. I would listen to the beautiful sound of the birds singing in the trees. I would watch the clouds move slowly across the big sky. Some of the older people still living in the village remembered me as a young boy. They greeted me with very warm smiles and kind words. I started to feel a sense of real community again. I was not lonely anymore. The silence here in the village was not an empty silence. It was a peaceful quiet, full of the gentle sounds of nature. It was a silence that healed my tired soul. My wonderful daughter, Evelyn, kept her promise to me. She made the long drive from the city to visit me almost every single weekend. Our special bond became even stronger than before. We would sit together on my new front porch and talk for hours. She would tell me all about her week at her school. I would tell her stories about my own childhood in the same village. One day, I received another unexpected phone call. It was my oldest son, Harry. I expected him to ask me for another favor, but this time his tone of voice was very different. "Hi, Dad," he said, and his voice was a little hesitant over the phone. "Evelyn told me that you seem really happy there in the village. I was thinking maybe Frodo and I could come visit you." I was so completely surprised by his words that I did not know what to say for a moment. "Yes, Harry," I finally said, a happy smile forming on my lips. "I would like that very much." That weekend, my two sons came to my small cottage. They looked so out of place in their expensive city clothes. They looked around at the simple life that I had chosen for myself. We did not talk about anything too important that day. We just took a quiet walk down by the river. I showed them the old tree where I had carved my name as a boy so many years ago. They saw a different person in me that weekend. They saw a man who was calm, very relaxed, and genuinely happy. A man that they had not seen in a very, very long time. As they were getting ready to leave, Harry turned to me. "It is really good to see you smile like this again, Dad," he said. It was a small moment, but it was a sign of our healing. They started to visit me more often after that first trip, not because they needed something, but because they wanted to spend time with their father. The distance between us started to shrink. I'm sitting on my porch right now as I tell you this story. The sun is warm on my face. My dog, the one Harry asked me to watch long ago, was sleeping at my feet. I decided to keep him. My life is not perfect, but it is very full now. It is full of peace, nature, and the love of my children, the real kind of love, the kind that shows up for you. I learned a very important lesson in my life. I learned that real success is not about what you have in your bank account. It is about the amount of joy you have in your heart. I had to leave a big, busy city to find my true self again. I had to get away from all the noise to finally hear my own voice. I had to come back home to remember what truly matters. Think. you for listening to The Road Back Home on English Story. We hope you found this inspiring tale helpful for your English learning journey. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories, and leave a comment telling us what you thought. Keep practicing your English, and we'll see you in the next episode.